Hello everyone, this will be the review of game Mental House, and the key was provided by developer. I will start with a small defense of the game. You must be aware that this is a sort of horror game walking simulator, also a little bit of point and click adventure. It's the whole group of games that are horror games, but you don't fight. So um, it does what those games do, even though I never buy them and I don't play them because I prefer games where you can fight and where you can develop your character, like for instance Resident Evil or Dead Space. But I know that there is a big group of people who play those particular games in this particular genre, especially on Twitch. So if you're one of the people who do like those games for whatever reason, if you really like games where you are supposed to be jump scared and you cannot fight back, you can only run away and you have to try to find the exit in a very simplified version of an escape room, plus some, as I said before, jump scares, then, well, it's not worse than other games in this genre. The thing is, I don't like them all, but if you like them, you might like this one as well. Now, it has some problems with technical side. I was unable to put it into window mode because there is no window mode. There's only resolution, which doesn't. Maybe it works. I don't know, but I can't apply it. I can press this and then apply it anywhere, right? So I have no idea how it's saved. Let's check language. Yes, there's a lot of language. Is nice. Let's check maybe sound. Let's. You know what? We can try to make it more bright. Sound, yes, we have sliders, that's cool. And guys, input is in Russian, right? So this should be translated for sure, but well, you can, I guess, do it or guess it, like WSAD, of course. That would be prihok. I don't know what's prihok, but you can prihok. Ogon, 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 I don't know, that's Q. In ispol ispolzować. I don't know what means ispolzować, but you can ispolzować with E. And I don't know why Q does two things. It does ogon and podniat. Maybe it's pick up. I don't know. Hard to say. Brosit. Brosit. Escape. Yeah, escape. You can do something with escape. And this is inventory. Inventory is tab. So you have inventory. By the way, inventory is weird because it always shows 4 out of 4, even if you have one item. But we'll probably make it to inventory. Also, you have to fix, well, I mean, change mouse sensitivity because the default is completely messed up. But if you lower it, it should be roughly okay. Okay, so I'm gonna load 2 or 3 save files, actually 2 of them, and show you what's in the game, and mostly show you the graphics. Let me just check the recording. Seems to be working. Yes, I put it into window mode by pressing Alt Enter or something like that. So this is a forced window mode, but it doesn't have one in the game. Okay, so this would be my save. Hopefully it loads. Loaded before when I was testing it. Give me a second. I hope it's not gonna go completely crazy. Yes, we are in the game, I guess. It's choppy, but we have to deal with it. Right, so when it comes to graphics, I think this is enough for those games. If you ever played those horror games with weird pictures and dark rooms, then this is standard, I would say. It's some sort of strange hospital maybe, and it looks okay enough, I would say. It's just, well, what you would expect, some dead bodies here and there, and yeah, let's check some more. Nothing great, but well, those games don't have to always look really good. Like Outlast, I think Outlast 2 looks pretty good, but if you look at other games, they are just very similar. And for this genre, I would say it's enough. It's a sort of 3D adventure games that, well, I think that's enough graphics. If you're looking for something, let's say, peekable, or if you want to, let's say, close the door, right, you can do it. It's enough of good graphics here, right? We can kind of close it. Let's see if we can close it fully. And the other door. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, see, that's sort of kinda enough. Well, it doesn't close, but maybe it's broken. Right. There's a small gap, but roughly. Of course, we can't attack, so we cannot break the glass or anything like it. Let's see if I can pick up this. I could. Yeah, 1 health. I think I took it. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's my inventory, right? So it shows those 4 things. Maybe if I go like this. Right. Let's see what happens if I use it. Probably nothing happens. Well, actually, I lost 1 point because I'm at max health. It's still showing 4 out of 4. I don't know why. It's very weird. Maybe you can have better inventory at some point, but I was unable to do it. So you have basically 4 slots, sort of like in older Resident Evil games where you have a very small inventory. So you can regain some health, and if you go, let's say, into this poisonous gas, you're gonna lose some health. So there is some situations where you can lose health. There is also enemies, but you cannot fight them. Like, this is not a weapon you can use. I guess it isn't. Let's see if I can poke it. I don't think so. Nope. Let's see what the space does. Well, that's the jump. Q, I don't know what Q does. No idea. And E is probably action. There is also some papers here and there, like this analyzer thing. Well, actually, it's instructions. So you can turn it around and look for some codes on it. And I guess you can read it. At this point, I don't see really prompts because the game is a bit moved towards lower part of the screen because it's in this forced window mode, so I don't see the bottom. But basically you can read text and you can turn around pieces of paper. Then we have code that you have to put in. I found a code on a padlock and code on door. Should be able to show you both. Let's see. Oh, I'm trying to get there. Yeah, I'm automatically crouching, which is very strange. Right, so this is this padlock. You can use it if you know the code. I have no idea how to get the code, but you can at some point find the code, I guess. And then you can move towards this area. And then we have something else. I'm gonna load another save file that should be right next to the right. See, this is where you put the code. You can put the code on the keyboard, and there you have an enemy on the left. So you can put code here. The problem is you have to actually aim with mouse, right? So you have to do it like this. You cannot input the code with numeric keyboard or any other way, but you have to use actually mouse. So you have to properly set the mouse. What's it called again? I'm forgetting. It's called sensitivity. Yes, you can see the graphics are back to this resolution, right? So it doesn't remember it at all. You cannot apply it in any way. Yeah, so sensitivity. If you mess up with sensitivity, you should be able to do it properly, because in this situation it's hard to actually target the code. But basically you have codes on padlocks, you have codes here, you have pieces of paper with some hints, and you have moving enemies. Enemies need to be avoided or closed. You have to close the enemy in a room, maybe find another exit from the room. In this case I just went through it and I lost a lot of health, but I was able to go further. And I'm gonna show you one more save file when we'll see how the combat, well, not the combat, it's a massacre. Let me just check the recording again. Right, so that's another room. We are inside this area. There will be this monster in a moment. We can go there or there. Yeah, here. You can hide behind it. Probably we are supposed to lure him there, go around and escape, but luring the monsters is really hard because he can just kill us, and then you would have to quickly move the door, which isn't very fast in this game, sadly. Also, I'm a bit lost here where I'm going. Right, so theoretically, you should do it like this. You should aggro the guy, probably, and then go backwards somehow and go into the room, which I can't do. Maybe like this. Maybe now escape. Not sure. Yes, he's a bit aggroed here. Is he aggroed? Probably he is. I can now eat all I have. Let me just know. I have nothing. Yeah, because I lost all my healing stuff. And I'm gonna probably die. Probably. Because I would have to let me just find the exit. Where is it? Yeah, he's now here. So he aggroed to the wrong place. And now I would have to run away. And probably close the door behind me. Maybe I will be able to do it. It's very, very badly working. I'm trying. Yes. I close the door now. So I guess maybe I'm safe. I'm actually going to save it at this point. Let's save it on a fresh one. By the way, it doesn't remember the names of saves, only the time. That's a bug or something. Yeah, and then we have the locks. So that's very annoying element of the game for me, because what you have to do, you have to push it and then do the quick time event, right? So you have to go like this, make it stop in the middle, which is almost impossible, and you cannot make it easier because you don't have any perks. Alright, you have to do it like this and push the button, but it's running very quickly, so I was unable to do it at all. Let me just see if I can. Yes, I can go out of it. So maybe I will be able to find something in the other two rooms. Let's just give it a few more minutes. I'm trying. Now, that was some jump scare. And what was that? Two more monsters coming out of nowhere. That's very, very weird. Very, very weird. I'm gonna close it. I'm trying. Apparently I cannot do it. Very weird. Maybe something is in my way. I'm not sure. Are they gone? Very, very strange. No, they are here. I think they just spawned out of nowhere. And I'm trying to close it. Almost. Yes, but there is this thing here, which I cannot probably interact with. That's very, very strange. Let's see if I can theoretically heal, because I have the save, right? So I can't find anything here. I'm not sure if there is anything. Maybe this... yeah, this seems possible. No, I need a key. So we are supposed to come here at some point, maybe get rid of the light. I could go there, but I'm gonna die. Probably. I'm not trying to... yeah, I'm dead. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop here. So once more, what elements do we have? We have part of the... sorry for the graphics, but it's gonna probably stay like this. Maybe if I can just load it and then go out. No, I would have to load some other one. And now it's gonna be okay. Right. So we have the mini game with QuickTime event, which doesn't really work well and is very hard to do. You have to do it 4 times in a row, which makes the game very, very difficult if you have to rely on the lockpicking. I'm not sure if you have to. Maybe you have to, maybe it's optional, but well, it's really hard. It's much worse than Skyrim or any other similar game, or Fallout, and you have no perks, you have no way to make it easier. We have the codes, we have the papers, of course we have the environment that's supposed to be scary. For me, it's more empty than scary, and I'm just confused and annoyed when I cannot fight back. I really don't like impossible to kill enemies in games, but that's what it is in the whole genre. So you are supposed to escape. You're supposed to be completely defenseless, and well, I can just say it's bad because the whole genre is like this. It's bad for me. That's why I don't buy those games. But if you like it, well, that's what you get. You have to always be away from the enemy, and you cannot do anything else than just, well, in this case you can close them in a room, but otherwise you're completely defenseless. There isn't really much else to do here, but again, this is always the same story in those games. There is usually nothing you can do. Sometimes you can heal, sometimes you can have some light source that depletes. In this case you just have your health, you can take a couple of hits, you can stay a little bit in the gas, but aside from that you just have to avoid all the contact with anything that can harm you, and you have to find the keys. Well, it could be the key itself, or it needs to be a lock that you have to lock pick, or it could be the piece of a code that will unlock a padlock or some sort of key locked door with a code on it, right? With a keyboard that you have to input, and it would be really hard to guess because there's 10,000 combinations. On the padlock there's 1,000 combinations, so guessing it would take hours. So you just have to find it, I guess. So I would say that this is only a game for people who are into this genre, because well, I'm not, so I would have to diss all the games in the genre, and I don't want to do it. If you like this sort of games, just like if you like sport games, which I hate, then you can play them. It's the same story here. If you like horror games that you are always the victim and you cannot fight back, and for some reason it's fun for you, then be my guest. I would much rather play, let's say, Fallout 4 on harder difficulty, but at least have some fighting chance than just be constantly avoiding. Plus, it's not like those games have good stealth system, right? So it's not like a stealth game. It's just a walking simulator horror game with no combat, which in my uh, for me it just makes no sense. But it is what it is. You might like it, you might not like it. But yeah, if you don't like it, you probably don't like all the games in the genre, right? So you wouldn't like Outlast as well, or many other games. Some people probably play it on Twitch for other reasons than having fun. That's just my guess. But whatever, if you like it, then you can do it. I think I would give it 4 because it has problems. Um, it's to some extent average because it does similar things that other games in the genre. It has some technical problems that might be fixed. The lack of translation, the lack of resolution, the lack of window mode, but those might be fixed. The way you operate objects, the way the game runs, which is not the best. I would say graphics are kinda average. I wouldn't even attack the enemies because, well, enemies are okay in such games. There's always some boogeyman chasing after you. It doesn't really matter what it is. It could be one type of enemy, it could be multiple enemies, it could be some sort of a monster, or even just a lot of jump scares. That's just part of the genre. So yeah, it could be just demented patients of a hospital, whoever they are. That's okay. You know, it's sort of a zombies that you cannot kill. So it kind of works for this game. A couple of jump scares are okay as well. I even got caught by like one or two. So well, they are in the game. I'm just saying. And the progression is just looking everywhere for clues, finding keys, pieces of code, or uh, pick locking, I guess. I'm not sure if pick locking is optional or not, but there is pick locking, lock picking actually. And this way you move forward, right? You sometimes have to interact with some machine, like close the valve or use some other piece of equipment, and then it unlocks the ability to go further. I'm always getting stuck in those games, either on the puzzles or on the enemies. For instance, in this case, I would have to really play for a long time to close this one zombie, and then what? Then I get two zombies that spawn out of nowhere, and I have to close them. So then I would have to do something like in the previous situation, just hope for the zombie to glitch somewhere and go kind of go around and try to quickly close the door, which you can do if the game runs like this. If it's really hard to target properly the door, and you don't just click it, you have to click and pull it. So you have to kind of grab it with your hand and then pull it in the right direction. So it would be hard to just run out and close the door. You would have to run out, properly target the door, get close enough, then hold it and grab it and push it. And I hope it stays like that, because they say on Steam that there's different ways to I don't know, interact with locks or close the locks. I'm not sure what they mean. Maybe there is some way to drag the items on the floor, but I couldn't find it. Maybe it's partly because I don't know what the commands mean on the input. Like, what's the double Q doing really? Can you actually grab something? Well, I don't think so, but maybe that's the solution for it. But so far it was just opening doors and keeping zombies inside, or just interacting with something that you can open, like a wardrobe or some some desks that you could open and see what's inside. So overall, I would give it a 4. I think it's slightly below standard, where the standard is not the best game that I played. Like, I really don't like those horror games. I like horror games as such, but not ones where I can fight. But it tries to be more interesting than just walking around and being scared. It does introduce those pieces of information on the papers. There is the mini game. Well, it is bad, I think, but it's there. It's like one more thing in the game. You can interact with a couple of objects by moving them around, like opening doors, opening those pieces of furniture. Maybe you can use those to lock the zombie somewhere, or maybe more like glitch it somewhere behind, like open door. I'm not sure how exactly the physics work in this game, but maybe it's possible to do it like this. So it's trying to be more than just an average game in the genre, but it's not very good at it. So I'm gonna stop here, guys. That's what it is. You've seen the gameplay, you've seen how it looks. I told you what's in the game, at least that's what I was able to find. It needs some fixing, and I'm gonna leave you with this. So that would be it. So for me, it's 4 out of 10. That was Mental House, and I'll see you guys in the next review.